These three stocking holders sell extremely well and can be made for about $25, yet can sell each for maybe 15 to 20. That means you could sell a set of these for potentially over $60. So if you'd like to make a little money as a woodworker, let's get started on this project. Let me show you how they're made.
So I start by printing off the templates on 8.5 by 11 paper and just cutting away some of the excess paper because I'm going to try to fit as many templates as possible on this one piece of pine whiteboard to try to save as much material as possible. So I do some spray adhesive and then I use this veneer roller to roll them in. That's not necessary. You can use a credit card or another piece of wood, but that's just what I do. And then I cut off the excess board at the miter saw and head over to the bandsaw to rough cut these pieces down to size. And then once they're rough cut, begin making the fine detail cuts. The trick here is to get a very small blade on your bandsaw and just take your time. Let the blade do the work. Don't force the material through. And I think you can get a lot closer than you think. I'm trying to get as close to the line as possible, obviously with not going past the line or into the workpiece. I then just use a scraper, a knife, my fingernails, whatever I could find to get the majority of this paper off before the spray adhesive really cures, and then I just sand the rest of that paper and adhesive off with an orbital sander and some hand sanding. I then cut down some pieces that are 5 inches wide of that same white material and then cut them another 5 inches in the other dimension to get a 5-inch by 5-inch square.
Okay, all of our pieces are complete and we're ready to assemble this thing. Now, when you're doing the assembly, the whole reason behind these designs is the flat part on the bottom be the same thickness as these squares that we just cut. So what you're gonna do is attach the square to the upright piece like this, or the design piece like this. However, I would not recommend doing screws. And you're not gonna see that because this will face the front. So anything back here you will not see. However, this is very soft wood. So if you're gonna do screws, make sure that you pre-drill and go very light with the screws because since it is soft wood, it's very prone to splitting, especially as thin as this material is. In my case, I'm just gonna do wood glue. I might put a brad nail or two just to tack it in, but again, be very careful, go very small if you do that. I think the best option would just be glue and clamp it like this and let it dry. So we'll get these assembled and we'll continue from there.
I applied some wood glue to the long grain of one of those pieces, stood my piece up, make sure everything was flushed up between the two pieces, and then just put a clamp on each side and let it dry. I moved on to the next piece, which was the Christmas tree in this case. Did the same thing, a clamp on each side, let it dry, and then repeated the step one more time for the final piece, just spreading the glue evenly, getting the snowman attached there and let it dry. After some time went by and the glue dried, I removed the clamps and then I began just spraying everything with white spray paint. I had to actually put a couple coats on here because the wood is so soft it soaked up a lot of the paint, but either way, I got the paint applied nicely. Once the paint dried, I used a combination square and set it to 2.5 inches. Since the board is a 5-inch wide board, I wanted halfway and just use a marking awl and pre-drilled a hole right in the middle of the edge of each one of these pieces, and then used one of these brass hooks to finger tighten them into place and install the hooks where I need them. That will become the holder itself for the stocking.
Okay, now the hooks are installed and these are complete. The way these are designed to work, pretend this is your fireplace mantle, your entertainment center, whatever it is. Just line the edge of these up with the edge of your, where you're gonna display these at. And then the hooks overhang that. And then the stockings just hang directly on like that. Now, you may be concerned that these are very lightweight wood and there's not a lot of weight that you can put in the stocking. However, you would be very surprised because these sit so far back, it's more of a fulcrum thing. So I know you can't see on camera, but I'm tugging on this pretty good and there's, this barely moves. If you pull hard enough, of course, it will flip it off the mantle, but you can put a pretty good bit of weight in here, and I think these turned out nice. Another option here is if you did not want to paint, you could stain. You could paint them 3 different colors. You could do some designs, something crazy, custom painting, whatever the case is. The other option here is to install use a Forstner bit and drill a hole right here to install a little T candle so that you could have candles in front of each one of these. That's certainly an option that you could do too. Again, you can find the templates and plans for this on my website, RockyRiverWoodworks.com. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them as a comment down below. Hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on future videos. And if you did like this video, I think you'll enjoy this video as well, so be sure to watch it next.